Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we are going to discuss about terraform state files. We also call as .tfstate files. So this particular file is very important for your infrastructure because it's contain all the metadata of your infrastructure which you will spin up from the terraform configuration file. So if you can see in this particular diagram, this is the .tf file basically where we have written our configuration to spin up an environment, and this is the state file. So this state file is basically containing all the information about the resources which you have going to spin up with the help of this configuration file. So let's understand it in very detail. So what is terraform state file? So the terraform state file by default is named terraform.tfstate and is held in the same directory where terraform is run. So basically from this particular file will be stored by default in your current working directory where you are going to run the terraform commands. So it is created after running terraform apply command. So we know there are three phases which we have to go through when we are running terraform. Like first is terraform init, then we run terraform plan, and finally we run terraform apply to apply the configuration which we have written in the terraform configuration file to create the resources in the cloud provider or software as a service provider. So this particular file basically is going to store complete information about your infrastructure. So this terraform stores the state of the infrastructure that is being created from the tf files. So this state is used by terraform to map real world resources to your configuration and keep track of metadata and to improve performance for large infrastructure. So whatever the configuration you have written in the tf configuration file, for example, if you are going to spin up a EC2 instance on AWS, then after spin up the EC2 instance for you, it is going to contain all the metadata about that particular EC2 instance in this terraform.tfstate file. So that's why this file is very important and we have to keep in the particular secure location. And terraform state file is written in a simple readable language JSON. So whenever you run the terraform apply command, this particular file will be created for you and the content of this file will be in JSON format. So you can easily readable this particular file. Now next we have topic storing state file, where we should store this particular tf state file. If it is very important, then we should secure in some places where it is easily secure and easily accessible for the other users as well. So a state file by default are stored in the local directory where terraform is run, so that we already know. If you are using terraform to test for a personal project, this is fine. So if you are using for your own personal project, some R&D if you are doing, then you can store this file in local system itself. However, when working on the terraform project in a team, this become a problem as multiple people will need to access the state file. So at that point you need to store the state file in a shared storage system like GitHub, Azure Storage, GitLab, S3 bucket, Azure storage account, and etc. So if you are using for your personal uses, then you can store in local system. But if you are using in your project in your team, then you should store this particular file in the shared location or any secure location, which could be a Azure storage, Amazon S3 bucket, AWS S3 buckets, and etc. You should store your state file remotely, not on your local machine. The location of the remote state file can then be referenced using a backend block in the terraform block. So when we run the terraform init command, we have seen it runs in three phases: backend initialization, provider plugins, and module. So if you want to store this particular tf state file in any secured location, for example, in this particular diagram, we are using Azure storage account here. So here basically we are storing this particular terraform tf state file. So we have under terraform block you have to specify the backend. So this is the very first block which you have to specify in your configuration. So it can basically easily fetch this particular file from this storage account, and then it will initialize a next step which is called a provider plugin initialization, and then if you have any modules, then it will initialize the module. So like that your Terraform init output will display. So I hope you got my point. So this is very important to store this particular file in any of the secure location. So there are few important points about storing of this particular tf-state file. So let's see. So it is not a good idea to store the state file in source control. So in previous slide we have discussed we can store this particular file in GitHub, and we also know GitHub is a source control system. So this is because a Terraform state file contains all the data in plain text, which may contain secrets. So storing secrets anywhere other than a secure location is never a good idea, and definitely should not be put into the source control, because source control will be shared across the peoples. So it's not a good idea to keep your .tf-state file in the source control as well. So to avoid this, for example, in Azure Key Vault can be referenced. So if you want any secure location, then in that case you can use Azure Key Vault also to keep this particular file. Secondly, most version control systems do not allow the locking of files, which may cause issue when multiple people attempt to access the file at the same time. So for example, if you store this particular file in the GitHub or Bitbucket, any of the source control, and at the same time you are going to apply some changes, and other person is also going to make some changes on this particular file, then it will cause the issue for you, because it doesn't source control doesn't provide the locking. So lastly, storing state file in the version control can introduce human error also, as the latest state file would need to be pulled each time Terraform is run. So this could result in an old state file being used and unexpected changes to the infrastructure. So basically it is not recommended to put this particular tf-state file in the storage account, source control as well. So now using a remote backend instead solve this challenge. So if you are using the backend in your Terraform block, then this particular locking issue will be resolved, because locking is natively supported. The state file will be automatically loaded and encrypted. Encryption can be used to secure the state file on the disk and in transit. So remove remote backend storage such as Azure storage, for example, or Amazon S3 bucket is designed to be highly available. They also support versioning, so you can roll back to the previous state file so it get corrupted. Lastly, it is inexpensive to use, because this particular file size is very less, so you can use your free tier as well to store these particular files. So whenever we are going to implement such scenarios, so we have to keep in mind where basically we should store our .tf-state file. Now we have discussed about .tf-state file, but when you run the terraform apply command, there is one more file which is got created, which is called terraform.tfstate.backup file. So we will see in demo about those two files. So Terraform has another file called terraform.tfstate.backup. This file is like a version of the tf-state file. So basically as soon as you run the terraform apply command, first it will create a tf-state.tfstate file. Once the apply command will be completed successful, then it will generate the terraform.tfstate.backup file for you. So whenever we modify something on our code and apply it, our tf-state file will change our resources information. At that point, this backup file acts as an old version of that state file. So the modified resources details are in the tf-state file, and the old tf-state file will be transferred to the tf-state.backup file. So basically, simple words, if I would say, this kind of a version of tf-state file. So for example, if we are using a t2.micro as an instance type in our tf configuration file .tf file, and we have run the terraform apply command, so that particular instance type t2.micro which we have specified, that from that file basically it generates the backup. As soon as you again change the instance type, then the t2.micro to t2.medium. Now in the tf backup file it should be t2.micro only, but in the current configuration, like in tf.tf-state file, it will be t2.medium. So basically what is happening here, So as soon as you do some modification in the in your TF configuration file, the .tfstate file content will be updated, and the previous content of .tfstate file will be saved as a backup file for you. So I hope you got my point. Next, there is another important thing: desired and current state. So Terraform responsibility is to create, update, and destroy infrastructure resources to match the desired state as described in the configuration. So basically, what is desired state here? So if you see, this particular resource block is the desired state for the Terraform. So whenever you spin any environment, any resources, that resources, the content, the resources basically match from this particular configuration file. If it's not matching, then it is not a desired state. So as per Terraform, whatever the infrastructure you are going to create, that should be matched with the desired state configuration. So in this particular configuration, what will happen? This should result in an AWS EC2 T2.medium instance. So it means it's in a desired state. And what is current state here? The current state is the actual state of a resources that is deployed. So for example, you have run terraform apply command for this particular resource block. So it will create a T2.medium instance for you. And for example, other person is going to the Azure AWS portal, and it will change the instance type to T2.medium to T2.micro. So now the state of the particular file got changed. So now there is a difference between desired state and current state, and as soon as you run the terraform apply command, terraform will tell you the desired state and current state is not matching. So it will give you option like, so basically it will update the configuration based on the desired state. So whatever the configuration you have specified in the t.tf file, that particular resources will be updated, and the t2.micro which we have manually done, that will be removed. So remember, Terraform tries to ensure that the deployed infra is based on the desired state, not on the current state. So if there is a difference between the two, Terraform plan will show the necessary changes required to achieve the desired state. So if you have any confusion, we are going to see this these two state in the demo, so you will easily understand what's the difference basically. So but we need to keep in mind. So desired state is the state which Terraform know. Current state, he is not aware about the current state. So let's move to demo to understand better about the desired state and current state, and also we will see about what's the content inside the .tfstate and .tfstate backup file. So let me open my Visual Studio Code editor. So here I have very simple configuration files. So we are going to create a EC2 instance with the instance type t2.small. So again, this is a provider block where we have using as AWS as a provider. And this is the resource block where we have specified only AMI ID and instance type. So now we don't have any folders like .terraform or as log files, because we have not initialized this particular current working directory. So first we have to run terraform init command. Okay. So initialization process is started. So we'll wait once the initialization is succeed. If you can see in initialization process, what it's doing, we don't have any backend for this particular configuration, but we have provider AWS, so it's downloading the provider plugin. So we have already discussed about .terraform folder and the one more file which will be created very soon, log.html file. So we have already discussed about these two files in my previous video. So if you have not watched, you can go ahead and watch there. Now initialization is successful. Now we need to run terraform plan command. Okay. So now terraform plan will tell us what it's going to create for us. So now you can see we have plan 1 to add and 0 to change, 0 to destroy. So if I'll go up, so here we can see instance type t2.small and AMI ID basically. So I'll clear the screen. Now we don't have any TF state files. So now what we will do, we will run terraform apply command, then it will create a terraform.tfstate file. Okay, it's asking for confirmation. So now you can see AWS instance is creating. So if I'll go back to my console, so I don't have any instance, so it's in creation phase. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes. So now the process is completed. If I'll go back to my browser, I can see we have one Terraform instance with instance type t2.small. So now we will see what we have in terraform.tfstate file. You can like as of now we cannot see a terraform.tfstate.backup file because this is the first time we run terraform apply command. So in configurations files we will get all the metadata about the instance which is created in the AWS console. So now let me do one thing. So I'll just close this file. Okay, let me go to my configuration file. Now I'll change this particular to t2 dot. Okay, let me cross verify the instance name. So if I'll okay, just give me a second. So now what I will do, I'll change the instance type t2.nano. And let me save this file. Now again I will run terraform plan command. So now here we can see a plan 0 to add, 1 to change. So because we have changed the instance type here, so now it's going to update the instance type in the AWS. So I'll just clear the screen. Terraform apply. So now you can see, now we can see this is modifying, it's not creating. So now the process is completed. If I'll go back to my browser, let me go to instance, refresh it. So now we have instance type t2.nano. So now we will compare both the files. Now you can see terraform.tfstate.backup file is created now. So if I'll go to this particular file, so here in terraform.tfstate file we have instance type t2.nano. But if I'll go back to my tfstate file, so in this particular file, okay, let me search for instance type. Okay, so here we have instance type t2.small because earlier we were having t2.small in tfstate file. So basically what it does, it basically take the backup of previous configuration and it update the tfstate file with the current configurations. So it's just a backup of previous configuration, the tfstate.backup file. So I hope you got the understand like difference between tfstate and tfstate.backup file. Now we will see the concept of desired state and current state. So this particular configuration is called a desired state. Like we want this instance type to be created in the AWS console. But if I'll go back to my previous, in AWS console, here also we have a desired state. Now what I will do, I'll change the instance type manually here. So I'll go to action. First, I need to stop this particular instance. Okay. So first what I will do, I'll stop the instance. Then I will change this instance type from t2.nano to t2.small. But in our configuration file, we have instance type is t2.nano. So as per Terraform, when we run terraform apply command again, it will check the current state and desired state, and it will not match. So as per Terraform, this is Terraform. Basically, the desired state will be t2.nano, which will be created in the AWS console. So now the instance type is stop now. So I'll go here, instance setting. Okay. So instance settings, here we will change instance type. So now what I will do, I'll make it t2.nano to t2.small. So we have t2.nano to, I make it t2.small and apply. Now I will start the instance. So it will take at least a minute to complete the changes. Okay, so now instance state is running and we have instance type as a t2.small. So if I'll go back to my configuration, this is the desired state of Terraform. So now what we will do, we will run terraform plan. So what it does, if you see, it's refreshing the state first, then it will let us, okay, so instance type, if you see AWS underscore instance will be updated in place. So instance type t2.small2, it will be t2.nano when we run terraform.apply command. So here 0 to add, 1 to change, because here we are going to change the instance from t2.small to t2.nano as per the desired state configuration. So this configuration is in the current state, and what we have in this configuration, this is the desired state. So I'll clear the screen. Now let me run. Okay. Now we'll run auto. So it will not, what is the issue? Okay. So now it asking for the confirmation. So now it will start modifying the instance. So if I'll go back to my console, so still it's in T2, because first it will stop the instance, then it's change the instance type, then again it will start the instance. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes. So now the process is completed. We'll go back to the AWS console. Let me refresh it. So now you can see again we have an instance type t2.nano. So it's very simple, like whatever the configuration we have here in the .tf file, this is called a desired state of the configuration. So Terraform always wants the infrastructure to meet from the desired state, not from the current state. So I hope you understand the difference between desired state and current state. So that's all for today. See you in next video. Thank you so much.